Hey, it's Brock here with Rock Hill Farms, and today I'm going to finish cutting down this big tree. Now, last week I cut most of it down, but it was actually 3 large trees joined together at the roots. After I cut the first 2 sections, I stepped back to look at where the lean was on this 3rd section, and I realized if I just notch it in the front and let it fall where it wants to, it's probably going to land on my Quonset hut. And obviously I don't want that. Now I think I could probably just notch the other side and wedge it from over here and get it to go that direction and we'd be fine. But I decided rather than just try to push it with wedges, I'm actually going to use the skid loader and put a little pressure on it and make sure that it goes that way. Before I get the saw out and start cutting, I need to get a rope up in the tree. So I've got a throw bag here and some throw rope. This throw rope is a thin diameter but strong rope that's slick and is designed to slide through the tree. I've tied a bowline on the end of it, so I've got this loop right here that's easy to untie. I'm going to poke the bowline through the throw weight, pull it through like this, then I'm going to pull the rest of the rope through my loop. So now I'm tied on here securely, but if I need to take it off, it just pulls right off. Now the question is, how many tries will it take to throw this up where I need it? Okay, so right there is the crotch in this tree that I want to get this around.
Now, if any of you saw the title of this video and thought it might be clickbait, I can assure you that it is not. This was a complete failure, and if you guys have been following along, you know that I showed the good with the bad. If I only showed you projects that went smoothly, that wouldn't really help anybody. And I've learned a lot, and I feel confident that the next time I pull a tree, it'll go a little better.
You saw me get my throw bag up through with this line on it. Then I did what's called a straight lash to attach my throw line to my bull rope. Now, I'm going to put in the description of this video or in a comment, I'm going to put another video, a link to showing you how to tie the knots I'm using. I will also put links to the throw line, throw bag, and the rope that I use. It's important that you use a rope that's meant for this, an arborist rope, or what you don't want is a dynamic rope that has stretch. This is specifically designed to be very strong without having any stretch. Because if it stretches, you lose your pulling force at the critical moment.
Once the 2 lines were tied to each other, I just pulled it through so that I had the larger rope sticking out.
Now, I've got my rope through, and I've got this bowline on this end that will get tighter as you pull it. So I'm going to feed the rest of my rope back through this bowline. Now, as I pull this up, I will be on pretty tight up there.
I started off just clearing this branch from last time to give me better access for this upcoming cut. Then as I start actually cutting into the main trunk of the tree, you might be wondering why I'm cutting it so high. And the answer is foreshadowing for why this entire thing went south. I wanted to take this tree down before we built the Quonset hut, but I left it because there was a swarm of honeybees in the tree, and I didn't want to disturb their home. This spring, those bees swarmed and left the property, which is what opened me up to cut this down. But they were burrowed into the tree, and I assumed there was going to be a hollow spot from where they had burrowed, but I also figured it wouldn't come up to this split that's about 7 feet high. So I figured if I cut it about 5 feet high, I should be in the clear. And I was wrong. I went back in and opened this face cut up a little bit wider and saw this hole, and that's when I knew I had a problem. But I've already cut into the tree, I'm already rigged, I can't stop right now. So, knowing that this is hollow, all that meant to me was that I probably needed to start pulling a little sooner and leave a wider hinge. Here you see me putting a wedge into my cut, and I'm not doing that to wedge the tree or to put pressure on it. I'm doing it so that I can tell if the cut starts to open on its own. It's just a measuring tool at this point. Now normally you think of a tree falling when you get down to a hinge that's an inch wide, or if it's a leaning tree, it's going to fall sooner. But in this case, we don't have much pressure on the rope, and I still have a 6-inch wide hinge, and I can see the cut starting to open up. Whenever I saw that start to open up, I stepped out of the way and told my operator to start pulling. At this point, I'm stepping away, and you see the line getting tight. And at this point, I can see two other things that I clearly did wrong. The first thing is, you can see the rope slack out, and that's because skid loaders don't move very fast anyway, and we had it in turtle mode at a low throttle, and it would have been better to pull it with something that moved a little bit faster. The second thing is that since the center of this hinge was already punched out, I should have left a thicker hinge on the left side of the tree than the right side of the tree, which would have caused any twist provided by the holding wood to pull the tree to the left instead of the right. So if you think about this as a clock, and we're sitting at 6 o'clock trying to pull the tree in this direction, if the tree falls at 8 o'clock, it smashes in the side of the Quonset hut, and if it falls at 10, it doesn't touch it. I knew I was never in danger of this coming towards me, but I was pretty worried here that I'd tore up my building. And I guess I'm about as lucky as it gets, because these small branches just barely clipped the side of it and didn't hurt anything. It's always good if you can learn your lessons without destroying anything.
So that was a complete fail. I have a bunch of videos where I'm cutting down trees that I think might be hollow, and on every one of those trees, I do my bore cut first, run it back to the back, and then cut the trigger. And that prevents you from it leaving before you get down to a hinge. The idea here was you get down to a hinge about 2 inches, 3 inches wide, and then you start pulling. And this still had 8 inches of hinge when it decided it wanted to go, because the entire center of this tree is hollow. Let me show you the top of this real quick. And with that being hollow that far up, I don't know if I ever would have got that to pull over the way I wanted it to. Maybe if I'd pulled harder and sooner, but it is what it is. It's down now. I appreciate you taking time to watch the video. Put links on the screen to more of our videos, and I'll see you next time.